For the longest time, Philippine elections have been driven less by vision and more by spectacle. Politicians knew how to play the game, distribute cash, promise jobs, appeal to regional pride, or ride the charisma of cinema, sports, or celebrity. And time and again, the voters rewarded them. A word was even coined to capture this tragedy: Bobotante. A clever play on words, it combines bobo, moron, and botante, voter, mocking those who sell their vote, or choose based on shallow appeal rather than substance. The term stings because it reflects an uncomfortable truth. Too many in our electorate still treat elections as a festival of patronage, not a solemn duty to the nation. But there is another side to our democracy, though smaller in number. These are the Makabayan voters, citizens who care for the nation above self-interest, who vote not for what they can get, but for what the country needs. They are the ones who read, listen, and discern. They are the ones who understand that a vote is not for sale, that sovereignty cannot be pawned for 1,000 pesos or a kilo of rice, yet they are often drowned out by the noise of money politics, the flash of showbiz, and the empty promises of trapos. In ordinary times, this imbalance between Bobotante and Makabayan voters may simply result in another mediocre administration, another cycle of corruption and disappointment. But the coming years are not ordinary times. The stakes for 2028 are existential, with China's creeping presence in the West Philippine Sea and the parallel infiltration of illegal Chinese workers tied to pogo operations. Our sovereignty is at risk both externally and internally. Add to this the destabilizing threat of massive corruption, the brazen siphoning of billions through Department of Public Works and Highways flood projects, and congressional pork, and we see how fragile our democracy has become. And what makes this fragility worse is our history of electing back those already judged guilty by the courts. Joseph Arap Estrada is a prime example. Ousted in 2001 and convicted of plunder in 2007. He should have been consigned to the dustbin of history. Instead, just a few years later, voters rewarded him again, electing him as mayor of Manila in 2013. Then there is Imelda Marcos, convicted in 2018 of 7 counts of graft involving millions stashed abroad. She posted bail, remained free, and continued to wield influence in politics. More shocking, her family not only returned to political life, but climbed all the way back to Malacanang. Her son now sits as president of the republic. Gloria Macapagal Arroyo offers another lesson. Beset by scandals during her presidency, from Hello Garcia to lottery fund misuse, she was arrested on charges of plunder and detained for years. Yet after her acquittal, she was repeatedly elected by her Pampanga constituents as their representative. And then came the Napol's pork barrel debacle, one of the most brazen corruption scandals in modern history. Senators Jinggoy Estrada, Bong Revilla, and Juan Ponce Enrile were indicted for channeling billions of pesos in pork barrel funds to fake NGOs in exchange for kickbacks. They were detained, tried, and shamed before the public. Revilla was later acquitted, Jinggoy Estrada granted bail, and Enrile released on humanitarian grounds. But here's the tragedy. Instead of being banished from politics, they returned to the Senate, re-elected by the same voters whose taxes they had allegedly plundered. This, more than anything, exposes the deadly grip of Bobotante culture. What does this pattern tell us? It tells us that Bobotante culture is not just poverty-driven. It's a deeper sickness, the willingness to overlook corruption, to shrug at plunder, and to embrace the very people who betrayed public trust. To be fooled once is misfortune. To be fooled over and over again, that is national self-sabotage. If 2028 becomes just another business-as-usual election, If Bobotante culture triumphs yet again, then we stand to lose not just 6 more years, but perhaps our very freedom, our sovereignty, and even our Filipino identity. The line between mere dysfunction and outright collapse has never been thinner. This is why the call to every citizen, soldier, police officer, worker, professional, farmer, student, is urgent. The temptation to shortcut democracy through strongman rule or martial law must be resisted. Impatience, however understandable, could deliver us into the hands of the very forces we wish to defeat. Instead, the struggle must be waged within the democratic arena. That means protests, yes, as we saw in the massive turnout the other Sunday, proof that public anger is boiling over. But it also means channeling that energy into reform movements like Mayors for Good Governance, M4GG, where leaders like Magalong, Soto, Belmonte, and others are proving that integrity is possible in public office. What must change is not just the candidates, but the culture of the voters. We cannot continue mocking the Bobotante while failing to multiply the Makabayan. Each family, each barangay, each church, each civic group must do its part to transform the culture of voting. Education, awareness, and above all, example. These will be the real game changers. The choice in 2028 will be stark. Will we once again be swayed by envelopes of cash, by the familiar surname, by the movie star's smile? Or will we finally rise as a nation of Makabayan voters, sober, discerning, and determined to secure a future where sovereignty, freedom, and Filipino identity are not for sale? 2028 cannot be business as usual. It must be the turning point, for the sake of our children and grandchildren.